Hello, my name's Rick Stein, and I'm here to tell you about my new book, Rick Stein's Far Eastern Odyssey. Why the Far East? I'm well known for my fish cookery. Well, the answer simply is I've been spending more and more time not in the Far East. That's a bit of a joke. There's no such place as the Far East, but in Southeast Asia. And the reason for that is I've also been spending a lot of time in Australia, and it's a hop and a skip across from Australia to Thailand, to Bali, to Vietnam, to Malaysia. And so I do it all the time, and I've become more and more enamoured with the food of that part of the world. Well, why? Well, I think because it is so vibrant. It's so sort of straight to the heart. It's so easy for us to enjoy. It takes in the very basic flavours of hot, sweet, salty and sour, with occasionally a few bitter notes thrown in. There's not a lot of subtlety to it, but in return you get this fantastically sort of immediate cooking. And once in the book I've described in the section on Thailand, which is representative of course of that sort of food almost more than anywhere. I remember the first time I ever had Thai food, and I remember the sort of enormous sort of, could I even say, assault on the senses that it was. And I likened it to the first time I ever heard, say, Elvis Presley or Little Richard or Led Zeppelin. It was just like, wham, bam. And I still feel that way about it. It's just, there's no nonsense about the cooking. It's not particularly subtle. I agree, although there are subtle notes everywhere to be found. But it's just that sort of immediacy of it. And that's what I love. But the other thing that I loved was collecting the material for the book. Lots of trips to that part of the world, holidays to Malaysia, to Bali, constant trips to Bangkok and Hua Hin on the Gulf of Thailand, and making the TV series. It was a series of 3 month-long journeys, separate journeys to that part of the world, taking in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. And just a fabulous time. I mean, we were warned, every place we went, we were warned about political instability, about riots, about floods, about don't go to Sri Lanka because of the civil war, don't go to Bali because they're executing the Bali bombers, dangerous times ahead in Thailand because of political instability, Bangladesh, well, you're bound to get drowned in a cyclone. It was like, what's the point of going? Everywhere we went was a delight. Everywhere, including Sri Lanka. I remember talking to a guy drying mackerel on the beach just north of Colombo. And he said, we're so pleased to see you here. Everybody thinks that the whole country is in a terrible civil war and nobody comes there anymore. And we need you. Thank you so much for coming. And I was thinking at the time, well, am I being naive in coming to a country where there is civil war? No, I'm not, because I really feel the power of food to bring people together, to civilise people. And I don't think in somewhere like Bali, I'm there when they're executing the bombers. They weren't, in fact, it was in the next door island in Java. People are so pleasant. The country is so delightful. Their religious ceremonies are so interesting. But more than anything, I think it was just going to view cooking in all those countries. I remember once in particular going to Kampot in Cambodia, going to this restaurant on stilts right over the river in Kampot, going into the kitchen, and just an assault on the senses, just like the food. Enormous woks erupting in flame, people everywhere, health and hygiene, none of it. Dogs wandering all around the place, ladies sitting in a corner washing pots and chattering and stroking the dogs at the same time. We film a couple of dishes, we film a stir-fry, a lok lak, which is a marinated beef stir-fry, and Kampot pepper crab. Then we go and sit outside on spindly plastic chairs. You know those sort of chairs that are sort of made in sort of faded shades of plastic. And there's the boards of this pontoon. And I'm trying to avoid the legs of the chair going down in between the boards of me being toppled over. And out comes the lok lak, and out comes the pepper crab, and out comes the anchor beers. And you just think, is this a job? I'm sorry, this isn't a job. This is pure enjoyment. Well, anyway, as you can see, I loved making the TV series. I love writing the book. I love researching the recipes and tasting things. And it's the real thing. These recipes are as close to how they cook in Southeast Asia as you can get. I hope you like them as much as I do.